Hi guys, welcome to step one, day 9. This is the last of the step 1, so I'm really excited to move on to step 2 tomorrow. And so we're just going to get started here with the serenity prayer. And he says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. All right, and our 12 steps are, once again, hope you get these into you over a period of time. And so step 1 is I admit that I am powerless over the problem controlling my life. Step 2, I acknowledge my belief that God, the source of all power, will restore me to sanity and sobriety. Step 3, I make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as He instructs me. Step 4, I determine to work with God to make a daily inspection of my character. Step 5, I admit the exact nature of my character defects to God, myself, and to another person. Step 6, I'm ready to let God remove all my character defects. What a relief that will be. Step 7, I humbly ask God to place positive character qualities in me. Step 8, I make a list of all the people I have harmed and become willing to make amends. Step 9, I make sincere amends to the people I have harmed and forgive those who have harmed me. Step 10, I continue to practice daily what I have learned. Step 11, I seek to strengthen my relationship with God through prayer and meditation. And step 12, I determine to take this message of God's peace and freedom to others. And there's no greater time than to take a message of freedom and peace to others. During difficult times as we're in worldwide, this is a chance for us to rise and shine, to rise to the challenge. And you'll be able to testify down the road to your family and friends the decisions you made during this tough season that we've all been in. And you're going to shine like the sun as you keep moving forward. 12 tools here that'll help you to move forward. And don't worry about some of them seeming a bit overwhelming now. If you hear them, you'll get to that place where you'll want to do the things that you wouldn't even dream of now, because it'll be things that bring you to wholeness, bring you to stability in your mind, bring you to stability in your emotions, and this is going to happen for you as you continue to listen and grow, because like I said before, seeds are being sown in your heart and in your mind. New thoughts, new feelings, new friendships are going to start forming, new opportunities. You're going to have more resources to work with. So I just encourage you, let's continue this journey. I'm excited to go with you on it. Last day of step 1, thoughts of suicide and God's help. So again, we start off with I admit that I'm powerless over. So we're going to mark that out. I know it's 9 days now, but you just get comfortable admitting what you're powerless over, and you're acknowledging that it has been controlling your life. So you got to mark these things down. Just keep it going. It's just you're taking out the trash. You're taking out all the things that you've kept repressed. So mark them down, whatever you're powerless over. You will experience shock and depression when you realize your life is out of control and that you have no power over your intake of drugs or alcohol. You have been blinded by self-deception for so long that seeing the reality of life produces an overwhelming sense of hopelessness. While you were saying, I'm okay, your life was literally collapsing around you. So I hope you can begin to see that as we go through this. Shock and depression, as you look at how far you moved into the addiction and maybe away from friendships, away from good people, these things can all be restored in time. But you got to work with this and give it time. Don't go running out too quickly and tell everybody about all the changes you've made. Let your life speak for itself. That the genuineness of your faith, the genuineness of your choices, the genuineness of the person that you're allowing yourself to become, and begin to be comfortable with who you are. It's so important for you to begin to like who you're becoming. And celebrate these 24-hour contracts. When you reach your 24 hours of clean and sobriety, celebrate that. That's an awesome decision, an awesome day. And I want to encourage you, and I'm celebrating with you. Every day you have clean, every day you have not dabbling in whatever addictive behavior you had. I'm here rooting for you, and I'm going to be celebrating. And I hope one day we can meet. I really do. And I'm looking forward to the day that we can have a roundup. What I'd like to do is maybe once a year, we thought about this for our recovery program, that once a year we'd have a roundup of all those who are celebrating recovery and just have a great weekend of music and food and fellowship. And we're looking to do that once a year as things open up again. So I just let you know some of the dreams that I have going forward. Sunday nights, I encourage you. I don't do this on Sunday nights because I want you to consider tuning in to my live broadcast on Facebook. And so there'll be some music tonight and other nights as well. So on Sunday nights, there will be live music. And most of the music comes from harvesters who are all recovered addicts of some form or in recovery, because some of the new members are people that are in the program, a 9-month program here at Harvest House based out of Moncton. And so you can go on Harvest House Atlantic, look at the website, and you'll see the programs that we have available. This is my growing desire to bring this 12-step out to you so you can get help in your home, whatever community you're from, and build new friendships. And one day we can all meet together at some point. If you're ever coming through Moncton, you look me up and I'll be glad to grab a coffee and just give you a tour and show you what we're doing here. So let's move into the second one. Are you beginning to understand how much you may have lost? And don't be condemned again. Don't let any condemnation come, but just beginning to realize how much you have lost, including your self-respect and sense of purpose. That's just the reality. The deeper we get into our addiction, we know we're becoming someone that's hasn't been credible, hasn't been raw, honest. And so don't let yourself get condemned. It's just the reality of where you were, and now you're moving towards hope and a genuine you. You may have lost respect and a sense of purpose. If so, you may think you've gone crazy, or you may even consider suicide as a means of escape. Have you ever thought about ending your life? Say, I want out of this world. And you think the world would be better off without you. That's not true. Nobody will be better off without us. They just need to be better off without the old self-life, the life of me, myself, and I. We call it the kingdom of me, myself, and I. The height of our own dominance, our own perspective, our own selfishness. To me, the addictive lifestyle is we become one of the most self-centered people on the planet because everything revolves around us in our addiction. And so it can drive us to a place of feeling like giving up, feeling like suicide. I remember many times in my life, I just wanted to give up. I didn't want to live anymore. And it was just a terrible place to be. And that depression that we sink into, if we don't do something about it, we can go into a deep depression. And in that place of deep depression, some don't come back out. Part of the reason I do what I do today, I have 3 uncles. As you know, my dad went to prison when I was very young. I shared my story. My mother left when I was 4. And so I grew up in my grandparents' home with my uncles and aunt, and 3 uncles ended up dead of drug overdoses, partially through suicide. We don't know for sure, but that's what it seemed to be, either an overdose or suicide. One left a note. And 2 of my uncles on my father's side that I knew, the oldest and the youngest, both are not here. And one uncle died on the steps of a mission out in Victoria, BC, wanting to get help. And in one last high before he went into a program, and there was a bad cut, and him and a number of people died, and he died on the steps of the BC mission in Victoria, BC. So I've learned to hate the drug culture. As you know, it destroyed my life. It destroyed many of my family members. Myself and 2 of my family members, other of my family members ended up in prison, in and out for long periods of time. My father did 33 years inside. An uncle that did 30 years inside. I did almost 6. And I got to that place of deep depression when I heard, the opportunity that I could come to God and He would forgive me. And I was thinking, wow, really? After all I've done, that God could forgive me? That kind of rocked my whole world. But it put a little bit of hope. I really didn't want it at the time, and I wasn't into religion at all. My aunt would send me little daily bread sometimes and ask me to read it when I was inside, and I would, bring conviction over me, and I put it away. But I always knew there was something in life that I knew was there, but I just couldn't seem to find and couldn't reach out to. Until finally I prayed one day and said, God, if you're really there, please come in and show me who you are. And if you reveal yourself to me, I will follow you. I'll be all in, but I just need to know. I just need to know, are you real? And when I woke up the next day and I just had this peace, it's been 40 years now, this is my 40th year, and the peace of the Lord flooded into my heart. It was the fall of 1982. In a deep, dark place, in a segregation cell where I've been locked up inside of a prison within the prison, and no visits or family. 1 visit in 16 months, and I was just in a bad shape. And hope came into my heart, and I just thought, wow, what's going on? And all I remember is that somehow I knew God had answered my prayer, and I said, keep coming, whatever you're doing, just keep on coming. And then I found that it was a relationship and not a religion at all. We're not invited into a religion by Jesus. In fact, the religious people of his day are the ones that crucified him. You know, Jesus was so different than religion because he represented freedom. Freedom to be the creation that we're called and not have to live under all the rules and regulations that men come up with. And so, wow, that was what an eye-opening for me. So I began to read the scriptures, and I read the life about Jesus, how he performed miracles, he forgave the criminals, he forgave, you know, the abusers of alcohol and bad activity. I thought, wow, like Jesus died between two thieves, and one was, you know, cursing him right out to the end. And a guy who was dying as a thief looks over at Jesus and he says, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And the scripture says Jesus looked at him from the cross and said, this day you'll be with me in paradise. And I'm like, wow, Jesus just forgave him like that? He goes right into the heavenly kingdom after the life he lived? I'm telling you, I was so encouraged. I just said, Lord, I want to learn more about you. And then when I read about how he helped, you know, the street person, the down and out, the castaways from society, that Jesus came for them because he said the well don't need a doctor, it's the sick that need a doctor. And I'm like, whoa, like I was totally wrong about everything I ever believed. And all of a sudden I was hungry to know more. And that's how my life got turned around. And, you know, I spent 32 and a half of the last years doing street level work, reaching out to people with addictions, criminal activity. I get to go into the prisons, you know, year round. My daughter, 2017, wrote this book called Like Father, Like Son. If you'd like a copy, just ask and I can get that mailed out to you. My wife Rose will send that out. And it's the story of my life, but you got to read the whole thing because it gets better at the end. The first is kind of dark and dismal and hopeless and depressive, and the stuff that I went through as a young boy growing up, and then how I came to faith in a dark place in my life. And I'm so thankful that I can go and help people today, and you're going to be able to do the same. As you get hope and as you get help, your life's going to mean something, and who knows whether your story goes out into a book or out into, you share it with people who find hope and find that your life can mean something to others who are struggling. And that's my hope for you, is that you'll do for others what you're having being done for you today. It can happen. Okay, so I'll give you an example here. In reality, you do not want to die, even if you've considered suicide as a means of escape. In reality, you do not want to die. You only want the emotional pain to stop so you can regain control of your life. And that's really what I wanted. I didn't want to die because I was afraid of death, because I didn't know what was coming after. But then when I realized that when I come to faith, that yes, I can die to the old Cal I learned to put to death, and let this new one that was learning to love, learning to care, learning to feel again, I wanted this new one to live. And so I said, wow, what an incredible hope that we have, that we can start over again. And you are starting over again. And so be quick to just welcome the work of God. I tell you, if there is no God, you have nothing to lose. Would you agree? If you say, Lord, if you're there, come and reveal yourself in me. Sincerely, you mean it. If there's no one there, you're no worse off. But if he is there, and he does show up in your life, man, you're going to be blessed when you find out he loves you, he cares about you. He knows why you went into the places you went into. He knows you did the things you didn't want to do. He knows all that. And yet he comes and he forgives us and starts us on a new path. What an amazing opportunity. Don't miss out on that. It's glorious. So all we really want is the emotional pain to stop, and that's why we sedate, because the pain is too unbearable. But once we face that pain, and it's like going to a doctor for surgery, once that cancer of sin is cut out of us, then we're free to live, we're free to dance, we're free to celebrate. A righteous, godly man named Job suffered the loss of his family, possessions, and health through no fault of his own. He didn't even do anything wrong, this guy. In the midst of his misery and sickness, he was abandoned by his friends and family. Even Job's wife encouraged him to curse God and die. You know, here's a story of a guy in the Bible named Job, and he suffered the loss of family, friends, the whole bit. And his wife was saying, why are you even, looking to God? Look at your life. Look how ruinous it is. But he said, there's still a purpose. And here's what he said. And there's a verse in Job 2, verse 9 and 10. Then his wife said unto him, do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Shall we indeed accept good from God and not accept adversity? In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. He continued to trust the Lord, even though he lost everything. Why is life given to those with no future, those destined by God to life in distress? I cannot eat for sighing. My groans pour out like water. You relate to that? What I always feared has happened to me, and what I dreaded has come to be. I have no peace, no quietness, I have no rest. Instead, only trouble comes. That's Job 3:23 to 26. And so you see how, relatable these scriptures are. And sometimes distress comes to us through no fault of our own. It's not just that we've done things wrong. Yes, we reap the consequences of things that we've done wrong, but we're living in a fallen, hostile world, and sometimes we reap the wrong things that our parents did before us. Sometimes we reap the wrong things that our friends did around us without us realizing, and all of a sudden we're the fall guy as well. Some terrible things happen to people along the way, and God warned us that they would, but he warned us that he told us that he could bring us through it and help us to become an overcomer. So you may have to overcome some of your own struggles, but don't let the thoughts of suicide and cutting out dominate your life, because that's a dark place to go. And once you get into that place, it can just get darker and darker. Recognize you may have gotten to a place where you just want to die to this world system. You want to die to all the untrust and all the hypocrisy, but you want to live life and walk with those who are genuine. And there are people who are genuinely love God, genuinely love people, and they'll love you and encourage you along the way. They're the best friends to hang out with because they're trying to live an honest life. And so you and I have been invited to walk with them and be part of it, to walk with people that are overcoming. So begin to venture out and establish some new friendships. Job had every reason to consider suicide, yet he continued to trust God with his life and future. After Job had passed the test of faith, God honored him and blessed him so much that everyone could see his fortune. He lost everything, but look what happened. In Job 42, verse 10 and 12, when Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes. In fact, the Lord gave him twice as much as before. So the Lord blessed Job in the second half of his life even more than in the beginning. And if you've gotten to a place where you've lost everything, don't worry about it. Here, Job lost everything, but God restored him twice what he had before. And that can be your story. And now you'll appreciate it even more. Suicide can be a typical response to disappointment and depression. It just happens to be the wrong response. We don't want to die entirely and cut ourselves right off. We just want to die to our past, to give ourselves over to a new way of life and find out life can be very good when we have a hope. Perhaps you, like Job, have had so many things go wrong in your life that death has begun to call out to you. Curse God and die. Perhaps you are ashamed that, unlike righteous Job, you have brought destruction down upon yourself through selfish and unwise choices. In spite of your personal failures, the solution is the same for you as it was for Job. Trust God with your life and future, no matter how difficult the present may seem. God is waiting for you to face the reality of your life, ask him for help, and make a new start. You can do this at any time. Choose the right response. Cry out to God for help. And that's what step 2 is going to be about. Acknowledging that God, the source of all power, can restore us to sanity and give us hope. In the Old Testament, King David cried to God for help. Keep me safe, O God, for I have come to you for refuge. That's Psalm 16:1. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. I trust in you, my God. Do not let me be disgraced. Psalm 25, verse 1 and 2. Have mercy on me, O God, because of your unfailing love. Because of your great compassion, blot out the stain of my sins. And that's Psalm 51, verse 1 and 2. Are you ready to ask God to help you? This is a big question that you just need to answer. Are you ready to ask God? And you can choose to do it. And just say, you know what? I'm going to do it by faith. And like I said earlier, you have nothing to lose by doing this. If you ask the Lord for help and there's nobody there, you're no worse off. But if you ask him for help and he really comes through, man, everything changes for you, right? Write this verse on a small card and keep it with you throughout the day. Remember, I'm asking you to get those little 3x5 cards or cut out some paper. Write down this verse. And it's in Psalm 31:1, if you want to look it up later. O Lord, I have come to you for protection. Don't let me be put to shame. Rescue me, for you always do what is right. And then today, so mark this down, this is important. Again, today, I will make right choices and regain control of my life. I'm going to do this each day very slowly so you can make this contract with God. It's going to help you become an overcomer. Today, write it down, today, I will make right choices and regain control of my life. Date it, today, put today's date, and sign it. This is your 24-hour contract with God. Make right choices for this next 24-hour period, and you're on your way to becoming an overcomer. sign it and date it, make right choices, and regain control of your life for one day. And I'll see you again tomorrow.